Hi fashion lovers, you're welcome to yet another interesting tutorial. Today's edition we are going to be making this beautiful jumpsuit with no waist joining. So if this is what you're interested in, kindly watch this video till the end. Alright, first off, to know the amount of fabric to fold, I'm using this crepe fabric for this project. So you have to fold your material with 5 inches for your crotch extension and then your hip measurement, that's your round hip divided by 4 plus your 2 inches sewing allowance. So for the crotch extension I used 5 inches. I marked 5 inches for the crotch extension, and then I had 11 inches for the hip measurement, and I added extra 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So that is 18 inches all in total. Do you get? So at this point I'm going ahead to mark the 5 inches from the center front. Please pardon me, I don't know that my camera wasn't showing well what I was marking, but you still get to see it because at the point I fixed it. Alright, so I'll go ahead and mark that 5 inches and I will connect it all around like what you can see me do, right? I'm using a pen here because the chalk is not going to be visible. So this is the 5 inches I talked about all around. I marked it from the up to the hem of the pant. So I'm using the full length of this crepe material. It is 59 inches. I used the whole length. Do you get? So at this point I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder to armhole line. Because it's a sleeveless, I used 8 inches. Yeah, then I mark my shoulder to the waist measurement. I also mark my shoulder to the hip measurement. Do you get? So that is the first thing to do. After marking your 5 inches for the crotch extension, you can also do 4.5 depending on your size. You understand? Depending on your size. So I'm going ahead to mark my hip measurement and I'm making the lines to come out so fine. The waist, the chest line, the waist and the hip measurement. Now normally if this were to be a normal pant, I would have just gone down by 12 inches from my waist measurement, right? But because this is a jumpsuit palazzo, I added extra 4 inches. I added extra 4 inches to that waist measurement. Instead of 12 I had 16. You understand? So instead of 12 inches for the crotch length, I had 16 inches. I don't know if you understand. So that's for the crotch line. So at this point I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder measurement and I'll connect the lines to draft out my armhole curve. I will take my shoulder slope and all of that. This palazzo making is just so simple. This palazzo jumpsuit is just so simple. It's something you can do within an hour. You're done. So for the neck measurement, I used a 3 by 1.5 for the back. That's 3 inches for the width, 1.5 for the depth. You know it is a collar. It's having a collar. The neck is having a collar, right? So I'll first of all draft that of the back neck before I'll go over to the front. So at this point I'm placing my bust circumference divided by 4. Then I added extra 2 inches allowance. Now the 2 inches, 1 inch is for sewing allowance and the other 1 inch is for ease. You get? So depending on how free you want it to be, you can go ahead and add your allowances like that. So I did the same thing for the waist. I did the same thing for the hip too. So I'm connecting the lines together with my pen like what you can see me do. Do you get? So that is all for that. I'll go ahead and cut it from the hem of the pant. So whatever I have on the hips is what I have towards the down. That's after that 5 inches mark, whatever I had on the hips is what I just used down. There was no shaping. At this point I'm going ahead to mark the button allowance. So from that 5 inches point I went out by 2 inches for the button allowance, and I want the button to be stopping right at the waist. The button didn't go down. The button is stopping right at the waist. You can also do 1 inches below the waist. Do you get? So this is me now connecting the lines, the 2 inches lines for the button. So this is going to be the front actually, but I want to use it to cut out the back first before I can now go ahead and cut the front. So for the front neck I'm doing a 3 by 3 neck. And this is me connecting the neck width and the neck depth of the front before I'll now go ahead to proceed and cut out that of the back. You get, so that first one is for the back and the lower neck is for the front. So for the crotch extension now, just like we used to have our normal pants, that's the crotch length around there. Just like we used to have our normal pants, we'll just go ahead and give it a curve. You can use your free hand, you can also use your pattern master. So that is my crotch curve that I'm having around that part. But when you're working with crepe fabric, make sure that you pin them very well because they can be frilling around all the time. So here now I'm adding ½ inches for sewing allowance because we're going to be joining these crotch parts together. We're joining the front together, even the back. So we're going to be joining ½ inches, and after that I'll just go ahead and connect a line like so from my crotch line, right? I'll just go ahead and connect it straight to the hem of the pant. I don't know if you understand, but this is just simple. There is no shaping of any type. Then just go ahead and connect. So watch closely, you see what I'm cutting. I'm now cutting the button allowance for it. So I'll first off go ahead and fold it in like this, fold in that button allowance, and I'll pin it up. I'll use my pin to secure them together, and I'll cut out the back neckline first. So after cutting the back neckline, I'll now go ahead to cut that off the front. So this is for the back now. I'm going ahead to cut the neckline. Don't forget I did 3 inches for the width and 1.5 inches for the neck depth because it's having a collar. Now to draft out the back piece, we'll go ahead and place this front piece that we already drafted, fold another fabric, and we'll draft it out. So around the crotch area, you have to make sure to have extra 2 inches. I had extra 2 inches for allowance, accommodation of the butt and all of that. So that's for the back crotch. This is a normal thing we do for regular pants, right? So I'll just go ahead and connect the lines from that crotch. I'll add extra 1 inch seam allowance all the way down, and I'll connect it. So around this crotch area too, I'll add extra 1 inches, ½ inches for the joining allowance, and then the other ½ inches for the zipper allowance that I'll be adding. Just like you saw on the thumbnail, the palazzo is having a zipper allowance. It's having a zip at the back and then a button towards the front. This was basically made for a breastfeeding mom that asked me to make a jumpsuit with an ease for her breastfeeding duties, you understand? So that is why this video was made. So this is me now going ahead to cut out the shaping and all of that, and now the back point is ready. I'll go ahead and cut out the shoulder slope too. So for the pocket, I came down by 1 inches from the waistline. That's on the waistline I marked 1 inches, and then I gave it a notch. That's where I added the pocket. So I did this for the 4-piece, for the back and the front piece. Do you get? So this is what I'm having. So I'll now get the front together. I've gone ahead to fold in the button allowance. I've gone ahead to fix that. So I'll go ahead and now mark the front neckline, the neck depth. I'll go ahead and increase it, and I'll cut it out. Now we are done with our jumpsuit cutting. The rest, what is remaining now, is I'll go ahead and fix the pocket. After fixing the pocket, I'll go ahead to join up the crotch together. I'll join the crotch for the front and the back, and then you'll still see what we are having. Now for the pocket, I had a rectangular piece that is measuring 8 inches by 9 inches, and I gave it this curve that you are seeing like this. So I've gone ahead to, at this point, I've gone ahead to attach the zipper. I've gone ahead to join up the back crotch. I sewed in the button allowance for the front, and then I joined the front crotch. So what is left now is to join the two crotch together, join the shoulder, and then fix the pockets. Like, this is something you can just do in 1 hour. It is as simple as, so go ahead and join up the two crotch together, and then shape this up, add your pockets, join it around the shoulder, and then hem the pants. So for the collar, I have another detailed tutorial where I made a video concerning the collar. It is very simple. So this is what I am having. Please wait though, at this point you have watched this video but you're yet to subscribe to this channel. I don't know what you're waiting for. please subscribe to this channel and then make sure you follow up, because I have other interesting videos that you can learn your sewing skills. So this is me now. I've gone ahead to finish it up, and then I want to measure for the collar. For the collar, you have to measure your round neck, place your ruler, like your tape rule, like so, and then measure the round neck to know what you have. That is what you are going to use to cut your collar. So do well to watch my other video on how to make a beautiful collar. So I've gone ahead to draft the collar. I'll go ahead and stitch it like what you see me do now, and then I'll bring it in to show us the last result. After making this jumpsuit, I was very, very glad I made it. The lady that had this jumpsuit wore, she was so excited because this was an easy way for her to feed her baby without any stress. Now here is the end result. See you in my next video.